Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I hope that you're doing very well. And I'm doing very well myself. And I am certainly glad to be back on here with you once again for another episode of TJ's Topics. I certainly thank you for being with me. And I graciously welcome you to today's show. I thank you so much for being here. And thank you especially for allowing me the opportunity to come into your presence one more time. I am deeply grateful for that. And today I'm coming on because I want to discuss a pretty serious topic with you. It's something that I've been thinking a lot about for quite some time. And and you know what? The more I think about it, and the more I have considered how so much is tied up into it, the more it makes me realize that, you know, if people could ever wake up and realize what's going on, then they would be better off for it. And hopefully, as a result of awakening and becoming aware of the situation, then eventually they will start to kind of pull back from it, so to speak. Because, I mean, it's crazy how we have been duped into believing so many things over the course of our lives. And we believed it because the things that we were taught to believe, they were taught to us by people whom we looked up to and loved. And so that's the reason why we believed a lot of this stuff. But now, many of us have come into a new awareness. And there are those out there who have yet to come into this awareness. But rest assured that there are many more who are coming into it. Some who just came into it within the last few months or years, or maybe a decade. But I can tell you firsthand that this awakening is spreading like wildfire. I mean, it's spreading rapidly. And I believe that as time goes on, particularly as we progress further into this century, this awakening, which is happening at breakneck speed on a global scale, is only going to continue to spread. And more people will begin to understand that much of what we've been taught from early childhood up to maybe like early adulthood, a lot of it just doesn't seem to make sense, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I would like to talk for a little while about my subject for today, which is church is no different from Walmart or McDonald's. That's what I'm talking about. Church is no different from Walmart or McDonald's. Now, why would I say that? Well, think about this. The church, and many pastors will tell you this themselves, and I've been around a number of pastors over the years who've said it. But the truth is, church is a place of business. It always has been. Because think about how money changes hands week after week. Isn't that what we do in a place of business? You know, we go in there and We make our purchases and money changes hands. We give the cashier our dollars, and then they in turn give us whatever it is that we came to purchase. Well, the church is no different. I mean, if you go in there, you give the deacons or the pastor or whoever the money that you worked hard for, and you would expect to get something in return, just like you would at the grocery store or at Walmart or the dollar store or a thrift store, whatever. But is that the case? Do we actually get anything in return after having given up so much of our hard-earned money in the church? But remember, it's a place of business. Now, they'll tell you that it's a spiritual hospital, and they'll tell you that it's a healing center for the brokenhearted and those who are down in their spirit and stuff like that. But and then we do all this good hand clapping, foot stomping, singing and shouting, dancing in the aisle, running laps around the sanctuary, having a hallelujah good time, only to be let down at the end when they get ready to either pass the plate or ask for everybody to get up and go around to give some money. I mean, now I'm not a pastor, never have been, never had a desire to be. But if I were or ever had been, I would find it very difficult to start asking and begging for money after people have had all this good time, hooping and hollering and jumping and shouting and turning flips and knocking over the pews and kicking over the flowers and stuff. They ain't gonna turn around and ask for money. And look here, check this out before I get into it. I was flipping channels today on the taping of the day that I'm taping this. I had just came in and I was flipping channels and I came across this preacher on TV. And I wasn't going to watch him at first, but when he started talking about people sowing $1,000 seed, now that's right when I was getting ready to flip the channel, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead on and leave it on here just for the heck of it, because I want to see exactly what he's talking about. And he went on to explain how different people whom he had encountered in over the years or whenever, how they were dealing with different situations in their lives, whether it was homes about to be foreclosed on or on the verge of losing their jobs or, different things. And he mentioned how those same individuals who were going through all that sowed $1,000 seed into his ministry. And within a very short period of time, things started to turn around on their behalf. But now, here's the clincher. Now, those people allegedly didn't receive those blessings until they gave $1,000 to that pastor's ministry. But those same preachers will tell us that God is no respecter of persons, and that it rains on the just as well as the unjust, and that we can't buy his blessings because his favor and his love and his mercy and grace and all of that is free. It doesn't cost anything. But now, tell me this, if that's true, that God's blessings and His grace and mercy and favor is free, but yet we can't receive anything along those lines unless we give some money, or we start to receive all of that as a result of giving money. Then are those blessings and the favor and grace and mercy actually free? Because to tell you the truth, it doesn't really seem like it's free to me. It's like going to the casino. You know, there's a chance that when you put the money in the slot machine or lay it down on the crap table, you might hit and win a nice piece of change. But then there's also a chance that you may walk out of there broke, busted, and disgusted. So, it's one of those things that I have questioned a lot lately, especially like over the last going on 20 years now. I've had a lot of serious questions about that, and that's the reason why I don't fall for the okie doke like I once did, because I've been through too much, especially dealing with those type of people. And I just don't care to involve myself in that anymore because, I find it to be quite ridiculous. I mean, it's all right to go and socialize and wear your nice clothes and stuff, which is pretty much all I do. But as far as all that other stuff, I don't care. So let me ask you a few questions today, and then we're going to move on. How is church a business? That's question number one. Now, according to www.xpastor.org, there is a distinctly business-like aspect to overseeing a church. Churches have assets to manage, employees to pay, and members who rightfully demand accountability for their financial contributions. And every member who is given faithfully to any organization has a right to know how their funds, most of which they've worked hard for or receive in a monthly pension and Social Security, they need to know how their funds are being handled, because there are so many other things that they could be doing with their money. In fact, I would go even further by saying that giving all your money to a church is really not necessary, because there are so many people out here, most of whom we encounter on a daily basis, who are in need. And rather than funneling our funds through a building or an organization such as a 501c3, why don't we bless that individual ourselves? We can give them something to, help them out, whatever it is. It may not be much, but just something to show our love and compassion to them. And then, of course, there's St. Jude Children's Research Hospital that is striving to help kids day and night who are suffering with all types of illnesses, most of them cancer and then other illnesses as well. And there are a number of other charities out here that are worthy of our support. So there's plenty of places and people to whom we can make contributions, not just a religious organization. Question number 2. What is the difference between a church and a business? Now, the bottom line of a business is to turn a profit. The bottom line of a church varies depending on who you ask. And if you ask certain people, then they'll tell you a certain thing. But then if you ask somebody else, they'll tell you something different. So you have to make that judgment for yourself. The truth of the matter is, churches are businesses. And in order for any business to be successful, it has to generate revenue, which only comes from paying customers. And who are those paying customers? They're the people who frequent the business. And in the case of a church, they would be the members. So, and look, my thing is this now. I've heard all my life that the customer is always right. And in most cases, that's true. And in places of business, that's always true, no matter what kind of business it is. They have to do everything in their power to please their customers, because the customers are their bread and butter. Without the customers, they won't survive. So how is it that when we go into secular businesses, customers can pretty much, get things the way they would like to get them, like Burger King says, have it your way. And that is a place of business. And when you go there or go to any other restaurant, you expect to get what you pay for. And most times they'll do that. They will make whatever accommodations they have to in order to please you, because they want your continued support. But when you go to church, and remember, the members are customers. They're paying for something that they may or may not get in return. So if the customer is always right, then why is it that in the church, which is also a place of business, albeit a nonprofit organization, we can't get what we want or receive what we are willing to pay for? Because remember now, the customer is always right. And the customer is supposed to walk out of any place of business completely satisfied, regardless of what sacrifices the store managers or the clerks or whoever had to make in order to please that customer. We don't see this in church all the time. Matter of fact, I go as far as to say that we don't see it anytime, because anytime they see the need to, as they say, step on people's toes and rebuke folk and stuff. But I feel like if we are paying customers, as any member is, we should be able to get what we want. In other words, we should be able to hear what we want, see what we want, and do what we want. And on top of that, we should have what we want, because we are paying customers. And the customer is always right. Final question. What is the product that is being sold or offered in this place of business, which is the church? And that product is Jesus Christ. And whatever the Bible says, those are the products. And people pay for those products on a weekly basis. But are they really getting what they pay for? See, that's the next question you got to ask. Because most times people go in there empty-handed and they come out of there empty-handed. But if you go to Walmart empty-handed, you're guaranteed to come out of there with something in your hand, if it's nothing but a candy bar. If you go in the grocery store empty-handed, you know you're not going in there just to look around at the food and stuff. You're going in there to pick up the items that you need. So you're going to come out of there with some bags. Same thing if you go in any place of business, furniture store, clothing store, gas station, you may go in there, pay for your gas, but you may find some snacks or something in there as well. You pay for those and you come on out of there. Look, even if you're going to buy a lottery ticket, you paying for that and you come out of there. But you coming out of all these places with something in your hand that you paid for. But you're going to church and you got money to give or pay, but you come out of there with nothing in your hand. So what kind of sense does that make? Now, let's talk quickly about the roles that people play in a business as it pertains to the church. These are roles that people operate in secular businesses, but in the 501c3 nonprofit organization, that is the church, these same roles are played by people. So there is no difference between a church and a business. Why? Because the church is a business. Check this out. Number one is the president or the CEO. And that would be the pastor in the church. Number two, you have the vice president. And in church, that would either be the first lady or the pastor's spouse. Number three, you have the general manager. And in church, that would be the associate minister or associate ministers if there's more than one. Number four, you have the board of directors. And in church, they would be known as the deacons and trustees. Number five, you have the treasurer. And in church, they're pretty much the same thing. They're the ones who handle the money, take it to the bank, deposit it. The same thing that the store manager does, at a grocery store or anything like that, restaurant. They take the money to the bank after hours and deposit it. Because I worked in a restaurant once and the manager there had to do the same thing. So he acted as a treasurer, so to speak. Number six, administrative assistant. And in church, that would be the secretary, just like you have secretaries in offices and in schools and everywhere else. Same thing. Number seven, the ambassadors. Now, who are the ambassadors? Well, they would be the ushers and greeters. They're the first ones you meet in the church when you walk in. They're the ones who advertise about the ministry, and they may hand you literature, pamphlets and different things telling you about the ministry and, service times and different auxiliaries that they have that people can participate in. That's their job. They serve as ambassadors, the usher and greeters ministry. And I was a part of that one time. So number eight is business associates. And who are those business associates? Well, they are composed of numerous positions in the church setting, such as the music department, the Sunday school department, youth department, the hospitality committee, the beautifying committee, the kitchen ministry, the pastor's aid committee, and the list goes on and on. Those are the people that you see, working in and around the church. They're the business associates. The choir members and the musicians and, Sunday school teachers and what have you, different ones. People who cook in the kitchen, serve the dinners and stuff. And finally, we have number 9, the clientele, or the customers, as we just spoke about. And they, of course, are the members. The revenue that is generated as a result of regular customers comes in the form of, you already know, tithes and offerings. That's the revenue. Now, churches are not supposed to make a profit. They're supposed to be a non-profit organization. However, they often do have different little things on the side in order to generate funds other than regular offerings and stuff like that, because they claim that they never raise enough money during the offering. So they have to go out of their way to have other things like fish fries and bake sales, car wash and fashion show and different little functions in order to raise money, extra programs, maybe like on Sunday evening or whatever, all to generate more revenue. So what does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? Church is no different from Walmart or McDonald's. All of them are looking for profit, trying to gain extra dollars. And the only way they can get those dollars is from the hands of their customers who are the members. So that pretty much sums up what I have to say about this issue. Now, you can take it however you want, but at the age I am now, I just can't see going through life being a fool. And I hope that you all out there are not trying to be a fool either. When you learn better, you do better. So let us all decide on what we want to do with our hard-earned money. And remember that they can kick you out of the church, but they can never kick you out of the kingdom. See, that's the key right there. Because the kingdom is so much bigger than the church. And even if you're not a believer or whatever, if you're not a Christian, that's fine. Because guess what? Religion has really caused a lot of problems in the lives of so many people. Religion has pretty much been the downfall of mankind. And one reason why it has been is because it has caused so much division amongst people in terms of skin color, social class, and status, sexual orientation. So much division. People thinking that they're better than somebody else, all because of their religion. That's not good. And we're all a part of the same body, humanity. We're all connected. So therefore, we should be able to get along with each other and be at peace with one another. So those are my thoughts. And I hope that you gained something from it. If you did, please let me know. Feel free to like and comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share it with whoever you would like to, and I'll appreciate that. So in the meantime, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of TJ's Topics. I certainly enjoyed having you, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next go round, okay? And keep in mind that every round goes higher and higher. This is Taryn Jerome Harris. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.